The stories we make today would not exist without the wondrous tales of the dreamtime of First Nations people that inspired us as children. We acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional owners and storytellers of the land we record on today, and would like to pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging.
Welcome, baddies, benders, and babes, to the Book of War, an Avatar Legends real play. The story of 4 runaways seeking the Book of War in a world without the Avatar. My name is Jesse Thomas, and I play Minh FANG, the Foundling, he, him, a repressed runaway lava bender from the Earth Kingdom who found a new home for themselves in the Northern Water Tribe while hiding from deadly family secrets.
That might be your cleanest take.
Probably,
ever.
Actually. It was pretty clean.
Were you supposed to say obligations, though?
Yep, you're right.
You know, I've always liked secrets more, to be honest. But
anyway. But now we're getting a bit more information. That's why it's changed. My Minh fact for today is that Minh enjoys puppet shows. There's been a few times the puppet shows have been brought up, and he's like, no, we're not seeing a puppet. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's been brought up multiple times. Yeah. And I feel like someone got it really early on. Someone figured it out. It was probably Tomo. They're like, oh, Minh really likes puppet shows.
Hi, my name is Lucas. I play Tomo the Razor, he, him, a combustion bender who likes to keep entrees and secrets close to his chest, and he is slowly trying to redefine his place in the world. I am running out of layers to my onions. I feel like you guys have delved quite far into who he is, and I don't know if there's any secrets left.
Next step is to caramelize those onions.
Oh, get a good sizzle going.
Yeah, well, put Tomo under heat, see what happens.
Hello, my name is Georgie Hazel, and I play Nuro, the Destined, they, she, he. Nuro is a runaway from the strange and mystical Foggy Swamp. Due to the threat of war, Nuro had to leave their swamp, but there might be stranger things following that critter right out. And my Nuro fact for today is that Nuro's favorite time of day is sundown.
Nice. There's
when all the cowboys come out.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's just, is that the rootin' tootin'est time?
That's when they do the best puppet shows.
Oh.
That's right. Nuro was doing shadow puppets and scaring kids and stuff. Yeah, it all comes back to the puppet shows.
Speaking of scaring children, my name's Ted Darling.
There we go. He's back, baby.
And I play Banji, the Guardian, he, him, a runaway from the Fire Nation army who has instead chosen to use his strength to protect the vulnerable. And today it's a TED fact. I was at a friend's birthday thing yesterday, and we played the board game Twilight Imperium for 13 hours straight. And it was...
Nerd.
Yeah, standard game time.
Very, very nerdy. If old fans of Twilight Imperium, hit me up in the comments, because, I want to talk strats. Get that down to a 12.5-hour game. And I won, so...
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
Nice,
thank you.
Ted.
Hello, my name is Ash. I am the Grandmaster of the White Lotus. My fact today, Georgie asked me at some point this week, how does this dragon detector device work? The answer is science. That's all I got.
Thanks.
That upsets me.
It upsets you? It's sort of one of those things, like, you know how
No.
Go for the throat, George.
Go for the throat.
End him. Kill him.
You know how they're like, oh, we've now got spirit vines and we're going to put them into technology and somehow we're going to make it do a whole bunch of stuff in the korra series, and they're just like spirit vines. It's the quantum, right? Like, it's spirit vines at quantum. Same concept. It's like, here is this spiritual thing. We're combining it with some degree of technology, and as a result, it's doing the thing that we want. Science. 2 thumbs up. Jesse, roll the music. We are resuming exactly where we left off. Currently, there is a statue of the former Avatar Aria and a puffin fly, which is a puffin and butterfly cross sitting on top of its head. He has, in theory, summoned Aria, but at this exact point in time, nothing has happened. What do?
Bunji's just sort of very closely huddled with Nuro, I think. Here's something, he's out of his depth. He's in a cold place. It's hard to make fire, so he's just sticking by his buddy. with a big flame in his hand, trying to light things up and warm people.
Yeah, I think I'm sticking near Banji because of that fire. I'm shivering a bit after getting wet. So
Weirdly, Iroh's also there.
So yeah, I think Tomo is just going to bow again. Avatar Aria, we humbly would seek an audience with you.
I think with that, you see the spiritual representation, that sort of glowing blue we've seen in the show, come forward. And this woman is beautiful. Really elongated features, absolutely everywhere, like impossibly long, impossibly tall, and moves with a really slow flowing grace. You know how every time you saw Avatar Roku, he like looks so imposed, like he was so like
the big boy.
he just had that sort of I'm in charge of this situation, and that is all there is to it. She comes out in sort of that same idea where you look and you're like, no one will ever be as graceful as that, as long as they see other living beings. It's just some degree of impossible, and yet here they are. And she,
I think Minh sort of sees her manifest and sort of like freaks out a little bit and does like a really awkward bow.
I think Banji does the same because he's up until this point almost denied the existence.
Yeah,
of Avatar.
I think that, yeah.
So he's kind of like, oh, and bows as well.
There is no reason for you to do that. It has been a long time since anyone has sought me. What is it that you are doing within my tomb?
Well, Spirit, we've
Push
been...
Nuro up the push Nuro forward.
Well, Spirit, we've traveled very far to find you. We have been sent on a quest to find a particular item, but it goes a lot more than that.
she gestures to her thing, like the space around. And like I said, there is treasure. There's like vases from eons ago. There are scrolls. There are literal treasure chests. There is so much here.
And can I ask, just before we proceed, what does, like you said, she's impossibly long and beautiful and graceful. Does her garb suggest any particular nation affiliation?
She is Water Tribe.
Ooh, I was going to say Earth Tribe.
It's really old school, but you can still see the shapes and motifs. Like there's only one place that could have come from.
Yep.
North or south?
North. Arya gestures and says,
You may take whatever it is you need. I have no earthly use for it.
How did it all get down here? Why are you here?
We could say that this is penance.
Penance.
This is penance for my hubris.
Banji, what does penance mean?
Oh, it means like a kind of like a punishment.
Oh, well, what did you do?
Well, coming right out and saying it, aren't you? I committed a crime against the spirit world. And as a result, I was separated from the Avatar cycle. I still managed to do good things, which is why I received this bounty upon death that I was buried with. However, it is certainly not befitting of me, and you may take whatever you need.
Thank you. We definitely will.
From the mouths of babes.
the bird just sort of says, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Can I recommend this chest over here? It's got the sparkliest bits.
Sparkliest bits. I will definitely take that. But also, do you have an area with books and scrolls?
Everything is sort of everywhere. There's no real like zoning to anything. It's just scattered about.
Okay. Well, fellas, I think we better get to searching.
If this was the lesser role playing game D&D, we would be doing an insight roll.
We don't talk about that here.
We would be able to do an inside roll to see if she's withholding any vital information. Is there an equivalent of that here? Like an assess the situation?
Well, you can assess the situation to see
Yeah?
what you can
May I?
find.
Well, no, I can't.
This manifests in a negative way. Like, how does this go for Tomo? Like, are you poking somewhere where you really shouldn't be, or like?
No, I think Tomo is just really.
Doesn't know how to get a gauge on spirit.
Yeah, I think like a poker player trying to like search for a tell, and in doing so, giving away that he's searching for a tell.
Maybe are you a little bit scared because when you were in the spirit world, that spirit took your...
No, I don't think Tomo's afraid of spirits. No, I think it's just, I think Tomo's just being a bit clumsy about this.
Okay, I think that what happens is that you turn around immediately going, all right, well, I'm going to try and suss this out. As you do, you knock over a piece of pottery that is older than time itself, and it just shatters on the ground. And you hear, I go, oh, no.
Oh, that's like 20 years bad luck, man.
Some penance for Tomo.
I am so sorry. We can find some glue. We can fix that.
Arya looks at it and says,
I think that it is from a civilization that no longer exists. So your concept of glue is not required. Also, what is glue?
Right.
It's kind of like sticky stuff that sticks things back together. I think it's made from horse pelicans.
That is horrifying.
Yeah, I didn't think about that until I said it. Do you know Wanchitong? Wanchitong?
her demeanor immediately changes.
I do. Is that who sent you on this quest?
Changes in a positive way.
Like you failed, you would know. Well, yes. He...
Jesse's face to go with this is the best.
I want to look and see if there's a way to do this, like in a non-murdery, like we get in trouble way. Give me.
Was it be plead or something?
Plead is where you're after.
Yeah, I think plead.
Push your luck is the potential murdery way.
Or,
Yeah, you do have your move that's bring people together.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Building bridges.
Building bridges.
Yeah. So when you try to calm an immediate conflict between two NPCs, remind them what they have in common and roll with harmony. On a hit, they come to terms for now. They won't pursue conflict until an outside influence reignites it or time passes. On a 10+, you have a real opportunity to get them to put aside their conflict for good, and the GM will tell you what you must do. So I think he turns to Ari and says, yes, Wanchitong sent us specifically for the purpose of removing a dangerous object from the guise of humanity. The Book of War.
You can return to that oversized buzzard and let him know that the Book of War is no longer.
I'm going to get you to roll with harmony now to try that thing.
Okay, so I got +1 to harmony. Yikes, that's a 6.
What
a
happens
5.
What happens on a complete fail?
On a miss, you inadvertently highlight the differences and fan the conflict. You cannot use this move again on them.
It will be a 6 because you said you got a
Oh,
+1.
sorry, yeah, 6. I mean, someone might be able to help me.
Can someone?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Okay. It goes much further than Wanchitong. We're here because of destiny. Surely thousands of years have passed since you've seen that buzzard that can't change your mind in helping us?
I suppose you are right. Currently, the state of the world, is it at peace or is it at war?
It is at war.
And it's been at war for 70 years now. Well, maybe 70 years, 0.9.
A long, long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Banji shoots Iroh a glance.
Iroh, looks sheepish and he shrugs, and just tries to make himself as small as possible.
I am not the spirit. Arturo behind me is. I am just a person. He cannot have the book back because it is no longer a single book. My hubris was that I thought that I could destroy the Book of War, but it is not so simple to kill a spirit.
The Book of War is a spirit?
Before I tell you any more, I must judge you all. And if I find you lacking, then I will ask you to leave.
We accept your conditions.
Judge us how? On what? What scales are we to be judged upon? Like how pious we are, or like how cool we are with spirits, or like how much like
Man,
trees we've planted. I mean,
you don't have anything to worry about.
Well, there's some ambiguity about certain recent events that have stopped me from sleeping well that I'm concerned about.
Would you like to be judged first?
No.
Who would like to step forward?
Nuro steps forward immediately.
Come here, small one.
Nuro goes up and ends up having to crane their neck up, I suppose, to look at this very tall,
Yeah,
beautiful
she tall.
figure.
She tall.
I think Banji takes a step forward as well, and like not
One
solidarity.
at a time, Ted.
No, but like he's sort of like stepping if in case anything happens to Nuro, he wants to be a little bit closer.
That's fair.
Tomo wants to pocket any treasure that is, within convenient range.
There's treasure everywhere.
I'm just gonna grab what I can.
Just hacky sack it into his pockets. Just
Fine.
whoop, whoop, whoop.
Whatever's like the shiniest and most valuable looking. Is the bird watching me while I do this?
Yeah. I think at some point he goes, "Oh, that's a good one."
Okay. Yep. So yeah, we're cool, right?
I think he flies over your shoulder and he's like, "Come this way. I'll show you the good
Oh,
stuff."
thank you, please. Thank you, Arturo.
The worst part though is that like he keeps pointing out absolute junk. He's just like, "Oh, this tool is used. Can you believe this? It's used to figure out the C note. Yeah, you just get a note. Amazing."
Amazing. And I grab something else.
Georgie, I need you to roll with harmony, please.
Okie dokie. That's an 11.
Okay. Just double dabs around the table.
I was dabbing on Georgie's behalf, and then they also dabbed, so I guess.
It works. Aria places her hand on your forehead, and her fingers wrap almost all the way around your head. Everyone else sees Aria's eyes glow in that sort of Avatar style, and they also see Nuro's eyes glow as you are flashed to a memory. You're back in the swamp. You are coming back to your home, completely and utterly head to toe covered in mud.
Yeah,
all we see is the eyes. The rest is a mud monster.
Fabulous. I breathe that really like kind of tepid air in, and I'm just like, home.
You remember this very vividly.
Okay.
Nuro, you little scragamuffin, where have you been this time?
Mama, all over the place.
Yeah, I thought you might be saying that. What are these rumors I've heard of you trying to speak with the trees?
Well, they got a lot to say, Mama.
That was what I was worried about. Usually when people's been speaking to the trees, they don't speak back, Nuro.
Well, maybe they should start listening closer. Maybe they should start listening harder.
Nuro, you muddy little such and such. Come over here. Come on.
Mama.
Come on. And she takes out a cloth and starts like wiping mud away from your face and bits and pieces.
It keeps me covered in the swamp, Mama.
Yeah, that's the problem. And licks the cloth and starts like wiping it off. It's that good old fashioned like being wiped down like a toddler, and like you go, don't want. Nuro, you know you're special and not just to me, yeah.
I know, Mama.
You gotta be aware that whatever you're doing to speak with these trees is being felt. Even I'm feeling it.
Why is it such a bad thing, though? Why are people so scared of something that's different?
You've only ever known the swamp. A lot of us here have only ever known the swamp. It's a big, scary word out there, Muffin.
I've seen it. The swamp has shown me. I've seen more than you could even dream of, Mama.
The problem is when you go out looking at trouble, trouble starts looking at you. I'm just worried that at some point you're going to bring that trouble home, eh?
I never want to see anyone. I never want anything bad to happen to this swamp.
You promise me you'll stop, eh?
Nuro crosses their finger behind their back and looks up into their mother's eyes and says, "I promise, Mama."
I need a animal, that's my little skink Newt, and gives you a little tussle on the hair, which is now only mostly mud-free.
Nuro gives a little gap-toothed smile despite themselves.
And you are flashed back to the present.
Nuro, you are in fact touched by destiny, more than you realize. You are proven worthy.
Thank you, Aria. I am.
Who next would like to be judged?
Minh sort of looks at Tomo, who's looting, and then looks at Banji, and then is like, please not me.
Banji gives Nuro a little thumbs up as they walk past, and then, well, it's no time like the present, may as well. And then he steps forward.
Banji, you step forward, and once again, these elongated fingers wrap around your head, and everyone sees the same light show coming from both eyes. You are sitting in your barracks. You are currently with your firebending family.
Mm-hmm.
Hana is very excited about the upcoming mission. Can you believe it, Banji? We're about to go do something with a big difference.
Yeah, can't you wait? It's going to be great.
Yeah, you're really set on this one. You're really feeling like this time around we're gonna actually impress the people above us.
Look, Hannah, all I know is we've got a real chance to make a difference, and that's all I want to do is make a difference in the world, and this is how we do it, right?
But we've been making a difference, eh? Like, we've been liberating those supplies, we've been making sure that we got lands. We've been doing a good job, yeah?
I know what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that this has come down from, higher places. This is something that people are paying attention to what we do now.
Well, if we can find the spirit weapon, whatever it is that's making them waves, I think we'll be laughing, eh?
Got that right.
Laughing all the way to the top. Isn't that right, lads? And all the rest cheer.
As Banji laughs along with everybody, but as the laughter dies down, there is definitely a sense of doubt that crosses his face, but nobody except for him kind of realizes it and twigs.
Roll with harmony for me, please.
It's a 9.
Banji, you are thrust back into current times, and you realize that all the sins you committed as a Fire Nation soldier have come to light in the eyes of this person. How does that make you feel?
Current Banji feels very ashamed and hubris, with almost maybe a connection with Aria in the sense of I did something that I thought was the right thing at the time, but have now seen that it was folly.
Aria looks at you for a very long time.
You still have room in your ledger for good that is good, rather than what you thought was good. Your crimes are not so great that you are irredeemable, Banji the dragon, but mark these words, there is room to grow yet.
Thank you, Madam Avatar. I'm not really sure how to address you, but I can guarantee you that everything that I've done since meeting Nuro and these people I've done to try and bring goodness into the world, and I'm going to keep doing so.
I believe you will try. Who is next?
Is Tomo still rummaging around the...
Actually, Tomo would like to have a conversation with Arturo, but we can do that later, just before Tomo's turn, if that's better for the flow.
It might be Tomo's turn now. What's the conversation?
Tomo wants to talk to Arturo. Are you Aria's warden, Arturo?
Look, this is a story more for her to tell than me, but, I mean, I'm sort of here to keep tabs, keep company, keep abreast of the situation, I guess. I don't know how you explain it.
I don't know what she did, and I don't think you're the one to tell me. But is there a way for her penance to come to an end?
Again, that's her story to tell, but I appreciate you asking. That's very nice of you to find out.
Hey, Tomo, buddy, I think it's your turn.
Tomo looks at you and then looks at Banji. Has Banji gone through?
Yeah.
And you passed?
Yeah, and he looks a little rattled, but he just is like, yeah.
Well, of course he did.
Well, okay. Well, if Banji passed, I'm sure either of us can, really.
I want to see if Tomo passes to then get a gauge on where the limit is.
So yeah, Tomo steps forward and again bows to Aria. Here I am, Avatar.
I would like you to roll with either passion or harmony.
Passion, please, because it's a +1 as opposed to a -1. 9.
The hand touches your head and the eyes glow. You are flashed back to a point where you and Hoshi are cornered. The people from the lab are, in a very, very threatening way, they have both weapons and benders, and there are about 10 of them. Did you really think you're going to get away? Did you really think that was going to work, even though you've now got your fancy tattoos and whatever else? How do you think this is going to happen?
Do you really think you're going to walk out of this?
Do you? And they all brandish their weapons. You can either get on the ground and we take you away, or else it goes pretty wrong, eh?
Tomo turns to Hoshi. Hoshi, step back, get as far away from me as you can.
There is nowhere to go.
There's nowhere to go?
But Hoshi says, I'll make a space. You make a dash for it. And he rushes forward.
No, Hoshi, no. And Tomo goes to grab him. Am I in time?
The second Hoshi moves, flames gout at him. A spear gets launched towards you. There's a water whip coming down in almost like a slashing fashion. And your panic begins to overwhelm. And all you see is a flash of white. And when you come to, everyone is down.
Tomo reaches down to his little friend and pulls him in close, and I think Tomo's going to try to carry him away.
As you roll Hoshi over, you see there is that wry little smile almost permanently etched into his face as you begin to walk away. And you are flashed back to the present. And Aria looks at you. And she says,
You are an interesting person, Ko of the Fire Nation. There is not 1 ounce of selfishness within you.
I believe you are next, as she looks at Minh.
Like, well, if you two are fine, then I've got to be, right? Let's just do this. He sort of walks up morosely.
Tomo just steps out of the way for you, like he is just stunned. Like, there's nothing to say.
I think seeing Tomo speechless, Banji's going to walk up and sort of put an arm around his shoulders and bring him over to where everyone else is standing, where we've got the fire, just to make sure he's not going to say anything, but noticing the quietness of Tomo, he's going to definitely pull him into the group and just keep him by the fire.
Okay. Minh, are you ready?
Yes.
We see the same thing happen. The hands go on the head. The eyes glow. There's a little bit of a light show, and all of a sudden, you are taken to a time that feels like it did not happen all that long ago, but also feels like it could have been a lifetime ago. And you are coming home from school. The day that you lava bended towards the waterbending students. Your dad is sitting on the couch doing some paperwork.
I think Min's in a bit of a shock, and he ran straight home, and he sort of burst in the door, but he's just standing there.
Roll with harmony.
I knew that was 6. I knew. That's why I've been stressed. I knew I was going to fail this roll.
Should have used different dice.
No.
No,
These dice are Min now.
These dice are Min. I think without looking up from his work, your dad says, "Well, sport, I can tell something's gone wrong."
He's sort of stunned. Like, I think the moment he doesn't say anything because he can't, but I think the moment his dad would look up when he realizes Min's not saying anything, he knows what's happened.
I think it's a really uncomfortably long time. Like,
Yeah.
I think he finishes writing whatever he's writing, like waiting for you to say something, and you never say anything.
Yeah. And I think he does eventually look up, and Min's just like sweaty and wide-eyed and shaking.
You've got to go, don't you?
Yeah. It happened again.
Go grab a bag.
What?
You've got to go.
I only just...
Hey, sport, it's okay. These things happen. But sadly, it means that you can't be here anymore. We managed for a while. It's been a great couple of years, but you got to go.
Then where can I be if I can't be home and I can't be here?
I can't know. I think that's the real hardship of this.
I think Min wipes some tears from his eyes and then just sort of like hurriedly goes to his room a bit. I think he was hoping that wasn't the answer, but I think he knew.
As you begin to put things away, and I think that like you start looking at bags, you're like, but I want to take this, but I can't fit that. But maybe I can fit this. And you realize that your bag is already overflowing.
I think he dumps all of his books that he was trying to take, and then like realizes that like he can't take, like, even if he wants to take any of his stuff, there is literally no point. So he just puts in his robes and his Earth Nation robes
And 2 sets of shoes.
2 sets of shoes that are no longer gone, and picks up the rope sort of on the edge of his bed, wrapped around the little bed knob. Bedpost.
At about the time that you finish packing, you turn around with your bag over your shoulder. And your dad's standing there. He says, "Well, sport, this is everything I have on hand." And he hands you a sack of gold coins. He goes, "I didn't quite have enough time, so you got to make this last, okay?
Yeah.
I've also got some tickets. These will get you on the very next ferry, which will be leaving in about 20 minutes. You got to get down to the docks.
Okay.
You don't have time to say goodbyes to anyone. You got to go."
Where do I go?
"I can't, no, buddy. I really can't."
I don't know where to go.
"Hey." And he gets down on one knee, which means he's looking up at you. And he says, "I have every faith as a FANG that you will succeed at whatever it is you got to do. I have every faith in you. Let the spirits guide you, yeah?" And he gives you a big hug.
I think Min's just stunned and doesn't really hug back for a moment, and then like gives a tight hug and then just hurries out the door and goes.
I think the last thing is you look back and your dad has not turned around. He is just staring straight forward into your room.
"Don't touch any of my stuff." And he goes.
And you are flashed back to the real world. Back in the current time. In fact, I think you're crying.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are tears
absolutely.
coming down.
Yeah. And then like it stings over his scar and just floods his face with pain, which makes him cry more.
Minh Fang of the Earth Kingdom.
I know I'm not worthy. I've never been worthy, I know.
You have made choices. And your choices have gotten you into a lot of trouble. But part of that is what is in your blood. I highly recommend that when the time comes, do not give in to temptation.
I mean, just sort of like the pain from like the salty tears into his scar, sort of realizes like that he's bawling his eyes, and he sort of like wipes them away quickly and sniffles and sort of fine, yep, good, I won't do that. I won't.
I think Nuro's shocked to see you cry. My goodness.
I'm going to get you to shift your balance away from center as well.
So I'm now moving from 0 to +1 unity -1 heritage.
Okay.
What does that look like as we're all kind of standing in a huddle looking at you?
I think I think he's sort of moved back towards that like shame of his heritage and what it's caused his life, like the path it's caused him to take. So he sort of just pulls himself closer to the heat, not wanting to be alone. Sort of stands in around the fire and huddles in, but is sort of like he can't look at anyone.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to. He does like, you know, when you're crying, you don't want to talk about it. It's like,
will he accept Nuro offering their hand?
No, I think he pulls out Kabash.
Okay.
And just sort of like is holding Kabash in it, like just sort of over his stomach.
Okay, Nuro's happy to see that.
Yeah. And just sort of looking forward, bit glazed over.
Yeah.
Iroh does, in fact, get beckoned. Arya says,
And you, who is traveling with this party,
come forward and go, oh, I'm not really part of them. I'm just sort of...
come forward, and you will be judged.
And you see the sweat off his brow. Considering how cold this place is, it's at the time. And he steps forward and everyone sees this flash. Now, interestingly enough, it does not take long. Like, I think that's something I didn't necessarily describe, but you all picked up on. It is over almost instantaneously, maybe 10 seconds. It doesn't matter how long the memory lasted. 10 seconds later, Arya looks down and says,
Prince Iroh of the Fire Nation, you have caused great harm, but you have in you the capacity for great healing. You must find balance.
So I'm okay?
Yes, you are okay.
And he turns around and looks at us like, hey, I told you vacation was good for me.
Banji gives him like a knowing smile, I guess, like a smirk and a nod, because it was a very similar... I mean, it was similar to what Arya said to him of like, you've done some really bad things, but you have the capacity for good. And so I think Banji's like, oh, okay, maybe he is telling the truth about not being such a bad guy.
Arya follows up with his celebration.
You may think that you understand what I am talking about, but it is only after you have experienced loss that you will truly bring balance to your life and the world around you.
Them forward vibes.
No.
Don't do it.
Very well, none of you have failed, and I will tell you why I am here and what you are looking for. The Book of War was not a book, it was a spirit that lost its way. It was once the spirit of ingenuity, necessity, and invention.
Does Wan Shi Tong know that?
Wan Shi Tong does. When Wan Shi Tong was only a fledgling, this spirit was helping everyone around the times that the humans and the spirits started cohabitating. Even before the time that the Avatar cycle began. After a while, rather than people seeking audience, the spirit became a book that people could go to for almost any answer. But the problem is when a spirit is in a particular way for too long, they lose themselves. The nature is still there. The ability to alter the world is still there. But the will to enact that is now possessed by others. The Book of War has been used throughout centuries. And every single time, no matter how a conflict started, no matter what the intent of the person, it would inevitably corrupt. When you have the power to do anything, everything is possible, and everything seems right. So I tried to put an end to that by destroying the book. In doing so, I fractured my own soul. I separated myself from the Avatar cycle, and the book remained as scattered chapters. They've made their way out into the world. I get flashes every now and again when they're used, but I cannot sense them properly. Not anymore. You have all been touched in some way by the Book of War, whether you know it or not. A matter of fact, one of you has actually used one.
She stares at Tomo.
Nuro stares at Tomo.
Yeah, we all turned to Tomo.
Tomo pulls off his mask. It's
It's Banji Tong all along.
how I think Tomo's just been like kind of glassy-eyed, lost in his own mind. But I think when Arya says that, he sort of snaps back into what's happening. And how is that possible, Avatar?
You have been in close contact with one of these chapters, and in doing so you have unwittingly utilized its power. You made something from nothing.
My abilities, that comes from the book.
They do, but that is not what I'm referring to. Once you find the chapter, it shall be made clear.
And she reaches out and taps you. And everyone looking, it almost looks like just on his mind, like right where his forehead is, it looks like a ripple of water, like he was sitting just beneath the surface of water, and the whole world shimmers around him.
I know Kung Fu.
And that's much funnier than what I was going to say. No, she says,
The first chapter that you must seek is in a place called Shimsum Big Island.
Shimsum Big Island.
I take it this name means something to you?
It's where we all met.
Yeah, that's where we all came together.
she smiles and says,
Well, destiny has a funny way of doing these kind of things.
It sure does.
I went to the island to look for clues to my past. So, I haven't looked hard enough, it would seem.
I suggest you return and you find the chapter.
What do we do with it?
The choice is yours. I don't think it can be destroyed. Not without great cost to yourselves. However, if you do succeed in getting all of the 6 pieces I separated, you may be able to recombine the book and speak with the spirit once more. Or you may find it is safer with the owl.
and she stares off into space for a little bit. You can, as much as your little maneuver worked where she has buried the hatchet for the moment, you can tell that there is some degree of malice still there.
Mm.
Avatar, Aria, you saying that Wan Shitong should not have this book, this spirit?
Can you say, with all honesty, in the short time you have known this spirit, that you trust him with the power of everything?
I know that he hoards knowledge. I know that he hates the violence that humans create, that they destroy.
You've never seen what spirits can destroy.
I have. I know.
Then I ask you the question again. Would you trust the power to do anything with Wan Shitong?
I think it's less about trust and more about his intentions. I believe he just wants knowledge. I mean, it certainly seemed that way with the point that he has all these little fox spirits going around collecting knowledge for him. I think he just wants to complete his collection. I don't think he wants to use anything.
And he definitely doesn't give them enough snacks.
I have seen your interactions with these fox spirits. They stole something from you, yes?
Well, I mean, I think technically Yanni stole it first.
Wan Tong may wish to complete his collection, but at what cost? If he gives nothing back to the people that he's taking these things from, where does that leave you?
Well, he let us in, and he did let us look at the map that was taken.
Any wrong move and that bird would have eaten us whole.
Yeah.
What would you suggest we do, Arya?
That is for you all to decide.
Would you want us to bring it back here, under your care?
It will just be discovered. The thing about the Book of War, this spirit, its prime goal, amongst invention, was necessity. It necessitates desire of being used, and will make its way back out. Someone will find it. A new piece of information will exist, whatever it might be.
I mean, let's say we get one chapter and then we go and get another. I don't think it's a particularly good idea to have more than one on our person, right? Maybe we just use Wan Tong as sort of like a depository or a place to keep it while we search for other pieces. And then when we get the last one, we put it together and then go from there.
Or we give it to Boomy.
I don't know if giving it to a high-ranking member of one of the belligerents of this war is a good idea.
But Boomy's more than that. He's of the, and Tomo leads him close to out of Iroh's earshot. Hopefully, he's of the White Lotus. I think. Look, out of all the people that we have met, I trust Boomy the most.
Arturo, to me, please.
And Arturo goes, hold on, guys. I gotta do a thing. And he flutters off for a second.
If what Wan Tong said about this book spirit is true, and if what everything Arya has said about this book spirit is true, then I don't think this book is safe in anyone's hands. I mean, just off the dome, right? The first thing that's coming to my squishy brain meat is that
we take it to Mount Doom, where it was born.
No, I mean, I don't know how, but we put it back together and like fix it so it's not a book anymore. I don't know. I mean, if it can't just be read, and if we give it back its agency somehow, then at least that spirit can determine who gets the knowledge, not necessarily who can, like, if anyone can read a book, but if it's a spirit again, like you said it was.
You look over at Arya and you realize that her eyes are glowing, and so are Arturo's.
I mean, if it has agency again, then maybe, well, I'm not sure. This is all beyond me, but that's what I'm thinking.
Perhaps when we find the first piece, we'll get a better sense of what we should do.
I think you're right, Tomo. I think we need to find a piece before we know. I mean, I'm struggling understanding exactly what it is.
Foundations of war, harmony in conflict, the art of diplomacy, the corrupted path, the forgotten spirit, and the one you are currently looking for is called reality's veil. They all do very different things, and Arturo now knows more about it than he ever has.
He goes, yeah, thanks for that, guys. I was quite happy being ignorant.
Each of these plays a role in what will inevitably turn to war, no matter how good someone thinks. But your good is always going to be circumspect against someone else's good. Always bear that in mind.
It's a common thought philosophy that good is simply a point of view. Same with bad.
Remember, peace is fleeting, but hatred is eternal. Now I'm afraid it is time for you to go. I don't know that this place will be safe for you much longer.
And you look down, you realize that leak that had been kicking in is really beginning to climb.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not. I mean, I could fix this if you want.
I don't know that you can.
Oh, great. Minh starts taking some stuff, just picking it up, put it in his pockets.
Can Tomo assess if there's anything of incredible value here that he should, like if there was one thing he should be grabbing right now, what should it be?
What I'm going to get everyone to do is roll a d6.
Because I want to get stuff for Yanni. I want to get a spyglass. I want to get like this cool adventure shit for her.
That's a 4, baby.
That's a 4, baby.
That's a 6, baby.
I actually have a baby, so I find that really offensive. No,
Baby.
oh, he's becoming a toddler now. Okay, anyway, 3. I have 3.
Okay.
So we all grab a thing.
You all grab a thing.
Right.
Like, you can't tell, like, the level of water has, like, come up to a point that it's, like, it's close to your sort of your knees at this point without you even realize, like, it's
cold.
It's all been a time, but now you're beginning to realize, oh yes, we might actually freeze to death here. And so you sort of like plunge in and just grab whatever you can grab, and that's what this will tell us.
All right, everyone, onto the rock elevator. I'm taking us up. You too, Hiro. I'm not going to let you drown in here.
Are y'all gonna be okay down here? I know you're spirits, but it's kind of miserable.
Arturo will be going with you and will serve as a mild conduit.
Oh.
Yeah, you got a problem with that, Baldy? Yeah, I see you rolling your eyes.
No, don't. That's just Lucas.
Oh, that's just Lucas. Okay.
Animal psychic. Yes.
Another one. We got 3.
No, I think. Look, Tomo has one thing he wants to ask Aria before everyone leaves, but he can do that when at the very end.
I mean, it's now. It's now or never at this point.
We're leaving. Does she have to book Aria?
I don't know, but generally you will find it with people of power.
All right, Nuro, get ready for that. The water stopping from being cold and so on.
Alrighty. I
Both of you roll relying on your skills and
I'm
training.
gonna prematurely try and just like swirl my arms around and get a little bubble going. Come here, maybe.
Finally. With a +0 to focus, that is an 11.
That is a 2.
What? Minh just stabs, takes us up right through the water.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Everyone mark a condition.
Oh.
Georgie, you're shifting your balance as well. Away from center as you do not get your timing right and you are all doused through.
I'm marking angry.
Yeah, Banji's going to mark angry too.
Tomo is afraid.
Nuro's gonna mark insecure.
And
I get us to the top of the water and we breach and we're just wet. And I'm like, Nuro, come on.
I'm sorry.
You see the chamber almost immediately floods. It's kind of like the scene at the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade where there's just like the wave as like the rocks are all like falling down around. It's just like, bye. Enjoy the Holy Grail.
I'm sorry. Ocean water this cold. I don't know how to handle it.
I'm so cold.
I'm sorry. Everybody, hold on. And I just immediately try and just drag out as much of the dampness from their clothes. If I can.
I think that it is a cold and uncomfortable time while you all get back onto Hikaru and begin to make your way away.
So I'm just leaving them shivering then?
I mean, you do your best, but it's still cold.
Okay.
And the thing about it is that once you're cold in your core, you're cold.
as Banji gets on Hikaru, he's going to, the mane that is kind of with his captain's seat, he's going to snuggle down into the mane a little bit. Hikaru, let's mosey.
We need to get somewhere warm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm not going to say it's fine because I'm freezing.
Is Sooty still alive?
You mean this thing down here? Yeah, it seems to be okay. And you see Arturo is like just poking with his beak at Sooty, who's like trying to fight back.
Yeah, Tomo is just gonna grab a hand and pick up Sooty and put it close to him and just like give Arturo like a very clear look of don't you dare touch this.
Well, I guess we're on our way to Shimson Big Island, wherever that is.
The Book of War is Lucas Lee as Tomo, Georgie Hazel as Nuro, Ted Darling as Banji, myself Jesse Thomas as Minh Fang, and Ash Cooper as our Goose Monkey Grand Master of the White Lotus. Our theme song and outro, The Book of War Remains, is by Matt Harrison, and additional sound effects and music are from zapsplat.com. If you're a fan of the show and you want to support us, head on over to patreon.com/The Book of War podcast. Like these new fantastic Patreons that have subscribed to the show for just $5 a month. Ivy Caldwell, Rachel Rice, and Sapphire. Thank you folks so much for joining us on the show and coming and supporting us. It means the world to us. For supporting us, they're also getting access to all of our one-shots, our Reading the Book of War, and some fun little additional side projects that we've got coming in the new year, which we are very excited about to tell you. So jump on if you haven't. If you want to support the show, please join us. If you can't, that is okay. Just tell your friends, tell people you know, anyone who loves Avatar, spread the show, and then you get to be like, well, I was here first. I found the cool thing. Aren't I amazing? And you are. You're all amazing. A big welcome to 2024. We are so excited to get back on the horse and get on with the show. We had a production meeting the other night, which was just absolutely fantastic, and we're so excited for all the new additional stuff we're going to be doing, and we absolutely cannot wait to share that with you. Now that our holiday's over, we're going to be going back to a fortnightly release schedule as we were last year, so the next episode will be out on January the 27th, so we will see you then.
Is it like a secret shame though, or is it something you embrace?
I mean, we know he's a weeb. We know he likes comic books.
Yeah.
So puppet shows is like probably passes.
They're comic scrolls, please.
Puppet shows are like the anime in this world.
Yeah, they're the most like detailed, long-length storyline to keep you coming back every single night to see the next episode of what's happening, and it just gets more and more. And then there's filler content. And you're like, they're just trying to catch up to the scroll that hasn't been written yet. Do you know what I mean?
Puppet filler, the worst kind.
Anyway,